There you go. All right, let's get into the other game in the SEC. Alabama at LSU. Alabama is favored by 13 points in that one. The total there, 56.5. Alabama is 7-1. They're coming off of, they should have probably shut out Mississippi State last week. They have Ole Miss coming up next. First place right now is on the line in the SEC West. LSU, 2 losses. They got smacked by Tennessee earlier this year. The 1-point loss to Florida State. But you kind of teased this earlier, man. The Bayou Bengals have looked a little bit better over the course of the last 2 to 3.
A ton better. Tell me another team that has jumped up their level of play in the last 2 games like LSU, and it's a couple of guys. First of all, everybody knows what Jaden Daniels has done the last 2 games against Florida and Ole Miss, and he's accounted for 11 touchdowns. So 6 with his arm, 5 with his legs. I mean, he is playing flawless ball. The game in Gainesville, first 6 possessions, 6 touchdowns. Now, Florida and Ole Miss are not as good as Alabama on defense. I get you that. But it did allow this struggling offense and the struggling passing game to kind of get in some rhythm and some confidence heading into this. Quite simply, he's letting the ball go as opposed to one read and tuck it and run. They're running design runs for him as well. But another guy as well, it's a newcomer, and number 40. Get used to him, Harold Perkins, okay? Rob, I know when you were a freshman in college, you couldn't find your classroom on time sometimes, and you couldn't make this meeting on time.
It was more than once. At least that's what I told my professor.
Well,
sorry, I didn't know where I was going, man. I know that it's May. We're 2 years into this project. I was a senior telling people I couldn't find where I was supposed to go, Jimmy. Come on.
Harold Perkins had a few of these issues as well, and Brian Kelly is trying to instill a culture, a more buttoned up, accountable culture. But he's got to let this guy play. I mean, have you ever seen a press conference after? Coach Lane Kiffin, well, what? You had a 14-point lead. What happened? Well, they started playing 40 more. Jackson Dart, what happened? Well, 40 sure was good as the game went on. He's that kind of player, man. He is really, really something. He's an impactful guy. Place is going to be lit. Don't worry about that. It is going to be on fire. Alabama, we remember the 52-49 game against Tennessee. They're much better than that game defensively. And Nick Saban's headache, the cornerback transfer from LSU, Elias Ricks, got a lot of ability, but a little bit of attitude baggage. He finally gave in and played him against Mississippi State, and he played very well in that game also. Half the touchdowns that Alabama's given up have been in that one game only to Tennessee. They're one of the better teams, I think 5th in the country in touchdowns allowed this year. I think Bama wins, but I think this is going to be one of those classics where really you're going to have a lot going. Brian Kelly in year 1 to have his team playing relevant football with something on the line in the SEC to control your own destiny is unbelievable, but it's ahead of schedule. I don't know if this team is just ready for you. I think they're ready to compete. I know the crowd is ready to be a factor in this game as well. And Alabama is not invincible like we've seen sometimes in the past, which makes it a competitive game. I love the points. Very much to your Tennessee angle, plus 1,100 right now. You're not seeing this point spread value on LSU again if they somehow play competitive or win it, because they're way better than the 23rd team in the country, and that's where their point spread and value in Vegas is right now.
So I'll tell you this, Jimmy, and talking with the guys on our After Dark shows, the one thing that constantly comes up when I ask them, what is the craziest environment in college football? They always say first thing, Penn State whiteout games. Number 2, LSU if the game's after 7 o'clock. Doesn't matter who they're playing. It could be anybody. It's just LSU at home if the game's after 7 o'clock. This is going to be a night game, correct? It's the 7 o'clock kickoff.
6 o'clock local time.
6 o'clock local. It's still nighttime. Still nighttime. It's going to be late. So
it's nighttime.
You're going to have plenty of time to tap into some of the bourbon they can get down there in Baton Rouge. But I will say this. I think that the impact of that is going to be on Alabama offensively. I think you are 100% correct about what they are defensively. And I do think that there is a level of Nick Saban understanding that to make up ground in the playoff rankings, they kind of have to have like the eye test, win on the eye test, right? Look great while you do it. So I think that defense is going to show up. I don't know how well they're going to be able to move the ball in a place that's going to be that loud and that rowdy. I think it's going to be a close game, which leads me to believe that the under here again is where the value is going to end up being. And I know it's crazy. 2 biggest games of the day. I'm sitting here saying bet against points being scored. But that's where I see the value is right now into those 2 games. All right. We have 8 more games we want to get to, Jimmy. We're going to kind of go rapid fire on these because those are the 2 biggest games of the day.